Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Gyle here, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series. Second cast of the afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, didn't see that one coming, did ya? Well, you didn't get one yesterday, and you've been well behaved, and I had the free time, so I thought, why the hell not? It's going to be a little bit different today, something I haven't done before. It's a Pro-Am. I haven't set it up specially or anything. It's just something that I thought fitted the replay that's been sent in. What is it? Well, it's a Pro teaming up with a Joe. That's someone who's over 1500 rating, teaming up with someone who's under 1500 global rating, and then them facing off against a team of, well, similar standing, more or less. Anyway, it's all got to go down on a map I haven't seen before, and that map is Crimson Feud. So let's go on over to the game zone and check it out. So we'll call this Team 1 up here at the top and this Team 2 down here at the bottom. Going first for Team 1 over here in Orange, it's none other than Captain Claugus, featured several times, or many times in fact, before on Gyle Cast, though not for a long time. Naughty chappy hasn't been sending in replays. Anyway, he's misclicked and gone Cybrin, opening first land, and his teammate up here, the only one playing today who I think hasn't featured before on Gyle Cast, he's going Breast Cancer Awareness Pink, the very noble and beautiful UEF, and his name is Kachara J. Gamble, or Gamble as we shall be referring to him for the course of this one. Let's take a look at Team 2 down here at the bottom left. Going first for Team 2, it's none other than Butek Lee. Been a while since we've seen this guy, but he's going Cybrin, opening first land in Ferrari Red. And last but not least, featured him more recently, it's Apophanas. And for a Joe, this guy knows how to play in Mellow Yellow, going the Noble UEF. So it is a UEF Cybrin mirror matchup. The two Joes going UEF, the two pros going Cybrin. And this map, man, I haven't seen it before. I gotta say, first time I saw it, I sort of looked at it and aesthetically said, ugh. Purely because it does kind of look like looking at someone under a microscope with a pretty serious skin complaint. I mean, there's pus-filled buboes everywhere, which is kind of horrible, I know, but it's pretty cool. These are actually scalable, these cliffs, so you can get units climbing up on top of these, building things on top of here. You can imagine large fights going on here and here, but you've got like a sally port that you could bring troops through, but there's also a bottleneck and it could cause problems. And you've got a little bit of mass reclaim in the form of some wrecks in the center and lots of mass dotted around the sides as well. But all in all, it's nice to see, and I haven't seen it before, so why the hell not? So getting the first few engagements potentially heating up now. Claugus down here with a mole, going to come a cropper, I think, potentially, as it runs into a hunter from Butek. Nice work there from Butek, picking off that scout. And then a couple of labs up here at the top as well. Mech Marines going to wail away on each other for both Pofnas and Gamble, and they're going to destroy each other. Nice work there, these two guys matching each other stroke for stroke. Meanwhile, in the east, another unit out for Claugus. This time it's got more teeth. It's a Mantis. Butek trying to keep that hunter alive. Nice little bit of micro, but something goes horribly wrong with the onboard guidance system, and it careers into the side of the Mantis instead of running away, but never mind. I'm sure he knew what he was doing, really. Gamble coming to the center with his comm. Try and pick up some of these T1 wrecks, no doubt. Butek also moving forward as well. It's not necessarily the matchup you want. Remember, the two pros are on this side and the two Joes are on this side. Having said that, there's not a great deal of difference between Gamble and Butek in terms of rankings. Only 200 and something points. So not a great deal in it. So you got to look at it on paper and think this is probably pretty hard stacked in favor of Team 1. But you never know. This is Sopcom. Anything could happen, and indeed anything will happen. But an engineer getting out there for Gamble picks up that Mex, and the build order is for him to come down here and grab a radar and get a T1 PD on the ridge there, but I doubt he's going to manage it. Apophanas already expanding out here, has an engineer picking up those core mechs. And it's interesting that Butek seems to be coming to the center and not pushing out to the east. Claugus is heading south, pushing out to the southeast, because this, of course, is the intrinsic valuable point on the map. These two extra starting locations actually make quite for an interesting 3v3 this. I wonder whether you go vertically, presumably. That would be very unfair on these two starting locations if you divided down the middle like that. But yeah, these are obviously key points that you need to control, sets of core mass, and of course these extra ones up on the ridge as well. But Claugus out with a bomber, going after Apophanas' engineer at the top, going to pick that off and cease the work being done on that little mass field. And Team 2 currently devoid of any aircraft whatsoever. Butek's got an air factory on the way, but that's only 45% complete or so. So that bomber has only to concern himself with archers and sky slammers on the ground. Otherwise, he can go to work on trying to pick off mexes, radar stations, and engineers to his heart's content. But of course, the minute I said, he goes straight over a group of archers and gets himself shot down. Never mind. But Claugus picking up these bottom right-hand mexes now. And taking a look at the early eco side of things, 23 for Claugus out in front, everybody else on 17. And we've got the wonderful reclaim counter. It has returned. Nice to see. So we can actually see who's doing better on that side of things. We'll take a very quick look at that. Claugus has picked up now 600. Butek has picked up 1,000. Gamble on 1,200 and Apophis on 700. So Gamble, one of the lower rated players, is actually doing the best on reclaim so far. That will be down to his incursion into the middle, no doubt, with his comm early on. But his comm's now shifted up to the northwest, going after some of these forces for Apophis. Does he have overcharge yet? Not yet. So he's going to be doing that all with just the regular gun. Apophis also making his way up there as well. So no doubt a bit of a comm-on-comm action brewing up there. It is interesting, though, Butek still not making a play for the bottom right-hand corner. That could really play into Team 1's hands as long as they can keep him and his army out of the front of their base. Of course, no ACUs left in or around the base for Team 1. They are spread out around the map to the two corners. Gamble trying to grab some of these mechs is going to be prevented from completing the construction on that one. It degrades on 460 hit points and falling. And these two ACUs start to wail on each other. Apophis coming in now in a bit of a sandwich action. Strikers coming in from the north and south and trying to surround Gamble. And Apophis building wall sections to impede his progress as well. Love that kind of action. Look at that, slowing him up, forcing Gamble to take the longest possible route and to absorb yet more damage. Butek Lee pushing forward meanwhile, and there's very little on the ground to slow him down. Quite a few Mantis in the main base for Claugus, and we've got units of PD going up at the front of the base. Luckily for Team 1, no Medusas in this pile, so they're not going to be able to range that. Still, it continues up here at the northwest, and Gamble getting the raw end of the lollipop there. Exactly what kind of lollipop, not sure what kind of lollipop he's consuming if it's raw, but there he is, 5,700 hit points as opposed to 7,200. Apophis doing great work here with his comm. And now we've got a Jester out on the field. It's going to harass some of these units of Butek Lee's, who's been forced to pull back thanks to the amount of units in the main base from Claugus. I still feel like he could have moved directly north and wreaked some havoc amongst Gamble's base, maybe even crippled him. But plenty of inties out on the field for Team 1. That Jester having taken some damage so far. Needs to stay out of range of those archers, though. Another intie comes in as well. Doesn't manage it. Down he goes. But both of these guys dipping a toe into the air game now. A couple of bombers out for Apophis, as well as a Cyclone Interceptor. Claugus bringing in some forces, has left the southeastern starting point and potentially let it go to its doom as well, as Butek Lee counter-punches at the bottom. Doesn't have many Medusa. Actually, no, he does. He's got a whole line of them back here. He's going to need those. There is a unit of PD in this base. Claugus, of course, available to drop back at any time. But, oh my goodness, Gamble has been absolutely surrounded. This is bad, bad times for him. 2,300 hit points and falling down to 2,000. Both combined units from Butek and Apophis surrounding him, getting him caught up. Decent overcharge, though, takes a huge amount of pressure off him. Continues to back off below 1,200. Apophis is pursuing, but Butek is not. And now with support coming in from Claugus and his own units, I think he's going to survive, but that was incredibly hairy. Apophis continues to apply pressure, bringing in his own ACU, but too much space has been gained between those two ACUs. I'm pretty sure Gamble is okay for the moment, but the bottom right-hand starting location has been destroyed. Clorgus knocked off that position. He's also lost that group of units there as well, but now his ACU is under pressure. Butek Lee has taken a kicking. He's on around 3,300 hit points, so he's not going to be able to pursue Clorgus in any way. Now we've got another Jester coming from Clorgus. That's not going to last too long, though. 4 Inties hovering overhead from Butek should be able to dispatch that without any difficulties whatsoever. Apophis, meanwhile, being driven off that rear aperture away from Gamble's base. Gamble feeling the effects of that latest attack, starting to erect point defense all over the place. We've got one in front of the aperture here, which might well get stalled. Perfect timing on the arrival of that striker, but Apophis needs to recognize that shells aren't getting through. Wall sections blocking every single one consistently. Little push up the eastern edge of the map from Butek. This game really is all over the place. The action is non-stop. This is why this map seems pretty entertaining to me. I hope to see more people go for it in the future. 4 core mechs now under pressure for Apophis as Gamble brings in his own units. He's only going to be able to pick off one of those, I think. Apophis bringing in reinforcements is going to force him off that position once again. Another amalgamation of forces down here at the bottom right, but Butek's going to get the better of that deal. Clorgus still out in the open. Needs to be a little bit careful. That's a very large amount of units on the ground for Butek, who has made the transition to T2. He's also getting an upgrade on his comm, which Apophis is helping him out with. We've got T2 on the ground for Clorgus as well, turning up in the nick of frickin' time with a Rhino and a Hoplite. Why do I say that? Because just look at the amount of red T1 that is bearing down on Clorgus's comm. Needs to be incredibly careful here. 10 minutes gone in this game, and if he was to lose his comm and be ejected, I think Gamble would stand much of a chance. Overcharging as he goes. The first 25% of his comm has been taken out. He's continuing to back up. Brilliant overcharge there. About 5 units bite the dust, all clumped up on one another. Down to the last 3,000 hit points or so. Another decent overcharge should get him out of trouble, though he does go well down into the red. But a rank of veterans, he turns up at just the right time, bringing him up to 3,800 hit points, getting him out of that hot water that it seemed like he just got himself into. That upgrade still not complete there for Butek. And although we've got tech for Butek, we're not seeing any T2 units on the ground with the exception of engineers. Of course, the first order of business back there is the power plant. But great work from Gamble, bit by bit, dismantling the eco that's been thrown together by Apophis up here at the northwestern edge of the map. 12 minutes gone on this one so far, and Gamble, who at the beginning was looking a little bit shaky, hadn't produced that much on the ground, has run away with things eco-wise. That's why he's been ecoing pretty darn hard. 46 for him, 23 for Clorgus, so Team 1 way ahead in terms of eco. Butek hasn't moved off 19 for ages, and Apophis sitting just a little above him on 21. Apophis absolutely desperate to hold on to that northwestern location. Otherwise, he's not going to be able to keep up with Gamble, who's locking down the center of the field here. And Butek definitely did go for the tech upgrade and has gone for a tactical missile launcher and is currently launching tac missiles at that front line. We have got buzz kills in production, though. Gamble is going to eat a couple of those smaller missiles that split from the main one after that Cybran tac missile gets blasted with TMD fire. So tactical missile defense, the order of the day up front. He's already got the triads on the ground. He's not going to be too concerned about Team 2 pushing up through that. What have we got down here? Clorgus over here. He's taking a bit of a kicking. 6,700 hit points on the comm. And once again, a large fight brewing up here at the top. We do have T2 emerging for both players. Pillars versus Mongoose, but the Mongoose outweigh in number 2-1. Gamble just looking like he might emerge victorious now that he's got that advantage, that significant advantage, which is still pulling away 53 to 20 something there for Apophis. That jumped to 31 for a moment, but that's not accurate. It's 21. 56 to 21, that is pretty significant. Now we've got a little bit of a run by potentially from Clorgus. Units coming in around the back, and his comm on the way as well. Butek's TAC missile launcher being pinged. Got a Viper up front lobbing missiles at it. A Zapper is going to be constructed just a little bit further back. We've also got a TAC missile launcher up front now for Gamble, who likes the idea of a bit of TAC missile harassment. Thinks that's a good idea. He's going to go for some of that himself. Viper moving forward to put some pressure on that TAC missile launcher, which already has 2 missiles in it. Clorgus now moving forward down at the southern aperture. First few shots getting blocked by the relief of the land there. Probably wants to bring his units in front, but a TAC missile launcher coming in. Oh my goodness! And that was on the run as well. Clorgus down to 2,900 hit points, well into the red. And another one coming in as well. I can't believe it. How did Clorgus get sniped? He was even on the move. That is phenomenal missile placement from Butek. Absolutely unreal. And that presents a huge problem for Gamble. It looked like that game was won. They were pulling ahead on Eco. I'm pretty sure this is going to go Gamble's way up here in the northwest. Even though there are triads in play, Gamble's nicely sticking to the lower patches of ground, and that triad fire just can't get through, whereas the Mongoose fire can fire over the top of the hill, over the brow. But Gamble needs to expand out east and quickly. It's inevitable that Butek is going to want to counter-attack up that way. But 16 minutes gone, and T1 down. The top-rated player out of the game. Honestly say, didn't see that one coming. And this surely must be the definitive ejection from the northwest for Apophis. He's lost this group of mexes a bunch of times now and then reacquired them. But even with those triads, he doesn't have enough to repel that many units. Gamble needs to get in there and pick up those mexes as soon as possible. Still sitting up front with his comm. Feels like that's the safest place, at least for the moment. He's got a little TAC missile battery going on of his own. And he's launching at Apophis' base, but there are buzzkills already lining the area. Those TAC missiles not going to be able to get anything done up front. Gamble coming in probably will want to try and take out those buzzkills if he can. Trouble is, 2 comms up there, very bad for the health of your T1 and T2 units. And of course, Butek Lee now making his way up the eastern edge of the map, past the remnants of Captain Clorgus' old base. And these units of build capacity hurriedly reclaiming Clorgus' old base. Going to get slaughtered as those initial Mantis make their way through, and Gamble's base is wide open from the east. He's producing the odd unit, but I don't know if it's enough to deal with what's coming in, especially not since some of it's T2, and he has got one T2 factory, which is actually currently on an upgrade to T3. Might be an idea to stop that. I know that's 38% done. But he's going to surely need some pillars or something. Another push up front. And thankfully that attack missile launcher that destroyed Claugus is about to go down. At least you hope it is. He's only sitting on 222 hit points. Oh my goodness. Finished the attack missile launcher already. Unreal. There it goes. Gets one more attack missile off. Going for some close fire support. But look at the amount of units Butek's managed to get into the center of Gamble's base. The hydrocarbon goes down, but that's not luckily essential to his power grid. He's got enough T1 P-gens in play. And he did indeed cancel that upgrade. So that is a brutal waste of eco that was funneled into that. 18 3/4 minutes gone in this one, and he's only just tidying up those units. 2 Mantis and a Rhino left from that initial attack. Problem is another attack brewing in the east, the southeast, and Butek expanding to that bottom right starting location. And a ton of Vipers and Flapjacks queuing up to break this turtle at the front and open up another avenue of attack for T2 to get at Gamble. Gamble has been forced to pull back and relinquish control of the northwest once again. That is a painful, painful loss. Worked so hard to acquire that territory, and now it's gone. Another round of attack missiles out, heading over to Apophanas' base, who is standing still. He has got one buzzkill. Oh my god, I can't believe it! Apophanas gets ejected from the game in a shadow under 20 minutes. And the game is evened up. All of those yellow units expelled. And now it is the Pro versus the Joe. But of course, there's not a great deal between these two in terms of rating. But there is a great deal in terms of eco. Gamble ahead 56 to 37. Question is, what can he do with it? Unreal. 20 minutes gone. So much drama in this one already, and that's why I think this map is an interesting map. It's the first game I've seen on this map, and it's an absolute cracker. Or corker, I should say. I got in trouble for saying that. Apparently, I'm English. I don't know that cracker's a racist slur against white people. I don't know. Apparently, it's something to do with slavery and the people who used to crack the whip. But anyway, moving on. A lack of political correctness aside. Cerberus turret opening up there from Butek. Gamble forced to retreat in the face of it. And he really does need to get his engineers out to re-secure that northwest, because if he doesn't move quickly, he's going to get a drop in there that will do it for him. An attempt to bust this southeasterly position. Moving his units down that way, but that's a little bit late, I think. We've already got one unit of PD online, a second about to be completed. Yes, we've got a few Lobos in this mix, but certainly some TAC missiles will help. Straight after the T2 mechs, and then one of the units of PD. Shows you how much versatility you've got when you've got some TAC missiles to play with. This battery of 3 up front. And Butek not wanting to give up this location without a fight. Build capacity hurriedly throwing together another autocannon. Astonishingly manages to complete it, but it's not enough. Down he goes. 70 mass to 47. But this is quite concerning, it has to be said. Vipers have been softening up this area for a while now, and in come the Rhinos. Campbell coming in to support with his ACU. But also coming in through that little sally port we were talking about earlier, but unfortunately Butek is ready and waiting with his comm. Down go the Vipers. Gamble will be pleased to see the back of them. But unfortunately, the damage is done. Down goes the final TAC missile battery. And potentially the Triad as well. That's going to survive just. Once again, I've lost the HUD at the bottom of this one. Stupid Gaz UI messing up again. Apologies for that. Campbell starts a Triad. Wanted to hold that position alongside that other one, but is forced to back up. Butek doing a nice job. In fact, that earlier engineer didn't make a play for this northwestern position. It went right up to the top, to the plateau. He's grabbed the bottom right, and no one else has made a play for those the whole game. Correctly surmises that he could probably grab those and hold on to it, but nice work from Gamble. Getting involved with a little bit of a reclaim war on that one. Finishes off Butek's engineers paying attention. Again, another Triad not going to be allowed to be completed. Gamble continuously retreating, but he has completed that upgrade to T3 that he was working on earlier. Rather a fresh upgrade, of course. And now he's got Percival's out to join him. Butek, of course, will be able to overcharge that all day. He's got a ton of energy storage back at base. So yeah, Gamble's going to have to keep those Percys away from Butek's comm until he's ready to go for the kill. Use them to thin out the Rhinos. See Butek immediately going after it. Gamble taking a lot of fire though. After around 55% of its hit points. This is going to be real close, but the Percys open up on Butek. This could be a horrible error. Oh no! Butek throws it away. And Gamble pulls out the victory superbly at the end there. One too many Percivals. Butek just didn't have enough hit points left on his comm for that kind of thing. He knew he was behind, and he was considerably behind on eco, but I have to confess, the amount of aggression that he was throwing into it, I thought he might just do it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, guys. As always, more to come from me in the future. In the meantime, stay well and stay safe. This is Gyle, signing out.